Bonjour tout le monde. Hi everyone. It's me, Ali, your fancy friend in Montreal. It has come to my attention that the Chanel Fall 2025 collection is out imminently, and we may or may not be inundated with an avalanche of new eyeshadow palettes. I thought before the pandemonium hits of new, buy, let's take a second. Let's all collectively take a deep breath. Look at some previous fall Chanel quads and decide whether or not we actually need to buy anything new. I have one here in particular that has stood the test of time and stands out to me after all these years, and I want to share that with you today. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. This is definitely an iced coffee. I know we're talking about fall collections. Guys, it's August, okay? It's hot, but I don't make the rules. I just, live here on YouTube. And when I think of fall makeup, it often comes out around this time of year. To me, this is like a pre-fall transition period. Some of the evenings are getting cooler, which I hate so much, but it sort of lends itself to this dark, moody makeup vibe that I think is perfect for quiet revolution. This came out several years ago. I still have it. It still works. It's still good quality. And this one was a fall eyeshadow quad, and it stands out to me. Not only is it a blue eyeshadow palette, which I adore, but this is all matte, which is a very interesting texture to play with. When wearing something like blue eyeshadow, you may think that matte is going to be too intense. Actually, going in with a monochromatic texture finish like a matte can make dark blue eyeshadows look a bit more wearable for every day. So today, we're going to play with this palette here, Quiet Revolution. And then at the end of the video, you may decide for yourself whether or not you need anything new. All the products that I'm mentioning, the brushes, etc., are listed in the description box down below. I'm starting off with a big fluffy brush. This is a Refer 15, and we're going into this light color here. It's almost like a lilac, dusty lilac, and I'm knocking off a little bit on a tissue here. This is just going in the crease and a little bit everywhere. It's our transition shade, and it's going to make the darker colors easier to blend and apply. What I also like to do for this look, because I really want this eye to be matte, I'm going to use a face powder that's closer to my skin tone. Remember this blast from the past, the Chantecaille Hummingbird palette here, or the powder. I'm just going to pick up some of the face powder with the same brush, and I'm just going to blend this out. You could use a pressed powder, a loose powder, it doesn't matter. Using a face powder to blend out eyeshadow like this, what it does is it blends out the color without adding anything. I really want this shade here to look very light because we're going to go into something quite deep. Now I'm going to go into, what I argue is the funnest shade here. It is the more bright cobalt blue. And I'm going to use one of these sponge tip applicators. When you go to the counter, you can get new ones. You can just ask. So I'm just going to pack this on here quite generously. And then pack it on the lid. Okay, so this in itself is a cute look, but I have hooded eyes, so I want to drag this out a little more, which just makes it ever so slightly more dramatic and, in my opinion, more chic. And one thing to note, I am seeing some fallout here, which is why I always do eyes first, especially for this type of look. So what I do is I add a little bit more, especially to the little tip of the sponge here. And I draw a sort of invisible line here with my finger. I know that I don't want the shadow to go lower than here, so I will just take this and I can also just take a little pencil brush. This is a Sigma pencil brush using that same blue. And dragging it outwards here. And now I'm going to go ahead and try to recreate this on the other eye and try to match this as well as I can. Okay, right now I have quite a bit of fallout and these are not exactly perfectly aligned. So through the magic of a Q-tip, some eye cream, I'm going to fix this up. And then also when I'm applying concealer, I may just do a little bit of shape correction, but this is on its way to what I want it to look like. I'm taking this very tapered blending brush here. This is the Angie Hot and Flashy A504. Just something small and narrow and fluffy. I'm taking a little bit of that face powder and that lighter transition color here. And I'm just blending outside here. I'm going into this Victoria Beckham eyeliner. It's called Navy Noir, so like a dark navy. And this will pair very nicely with this. I'm going to draw a thin line on the bottom lashes here. And then I'll do a thin line on top as well. Now for the mascara, I'm going into the YSL Lash Clash mascara. If you wanted to, you could do blue as well, but I think black mascara is just as good for this look here. In fact, I think a blue mascara with this might be too much, even for me. I love a blue mascara, but often when I wear blue mascara, I wear either nothing on the eyelid or something very neutral and very light so that the mascara stands out. For the complexion, I have been using this Merit Great Skin Priming Moisturizer. I thought that this was like the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, which is a very moisturizing primer. I think this is actually just a straight up moisturizer versus a makeup primer, but it actually works really well to add extra hydration before I go into a real foundation. So yeah, I'm using the Prada concealer brush. I don't mind using it for foundation and primer. But yeah, I bought this thinking it'll replace the Bobbi Brown, moisturizing primer. It says priming moisturizer. So anyway, I did that. I'm human too. And I'm going to use the Prada foundation. The Prada foundation is really great, but it can be a little bit drying. That's why I want to go in with something a little bit more moisturizing. And I'm using the Prada foundation. The shade here, I'll list it in the caption. I don't remember off the top of my head which one it is, but it's really great. It's also quite long wearing. I don't want a ton of it. I just want to even out my complexion a little bit. And I'll go back into my Prada concealer brush just to even things out. There is an official Prada foundation brush, but the shape of it looks so weird to me. It looks like I don't know. It just looks odd and it didn't seem that appealing to me. So I just picked up the concealer brush and just do a little bit of everything with it. The concealer is going to be the Armani Luminous Silk. This is the shade 5.5. I quite love this concealer here. So I did a good job of cleaning up the under eye. I sort of skipped past that quickly, but I used a little bit of an eye cream sample from La Mer. It doesn't matter. Eye cream sample, eye serum, eye mask sample. Take a little bit of it on a Q-tip. It just cleans up everything, especially with blue eyeshadow. When you think of it, dark circles tend to be blue, purple, deep colors like that. So if you're going to drop eyeshadow there, it's just going to make things worse. This concealer is just a good concealer, but the 5.5 has a little bit of a peach cut, and peach is good to counterbalance any blue or dark circles. So I'm just going to blend this out here. And I'm bringing it up a little bit on the inner corner here just to brighten this up with the concealer. I'm not adding any extra eyeshadow here. And then I'm very carefully going underneath this shape here. And with the concealer brush, you could also sort of clean it up if you needed to. Let's go back into the beautiful hummingbird palette here. And I'm using a retractable kabuki brush. Just going to swirl generously here. I'm going to focus on the T-zone here because it is a hot day, of course. It's just heat wave after heat wave. For the blush, I'm going into my Sicily Orchidée blush here, number 3. I still keep it in the box. It's so fancy. I mean, this is the compact here, but then the blush itself, oof, this is number 3, Coral. Blue with a touch of peachy, pinky coral color is very complimentary. Right now, lots of greens and khakis are also very trendy for eyeshadow, which I love. And green also lends itself very nicely to peachy coral hues. So I'm going to use this with a big fluffy brush, like a blush brush. And what's nice is that you can really just swirl around and everything just looks really pristine. And I'm just going to tap a little bit. It has an illuminator, a blush mixed in. It is just so pretty. And I mean, it looks gorgeous in the palette, but also just as you wear it, it looks stunning as well. I want the focus to be on the eyes. I want just like a little flush on the cheek to look healthy, but not too much because you don't want it to look too clownish, you know? You want the focus to be up here on the eyes. And then for the lips, we're going to keep light and in the peachy pink. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lip liner here, and I'm just going to do a quick blur of color. Over top, I'm going to go into a gloss. This is the Victoria Beckham Posh Gloss in the shade Bungalow. I bought this, I think last summer or the summer before, and I bought this twice at least because it's just a perfect peachy nude gloss color. The key to a dramatic dark blue eye look is if you actually keep all the eyeshadows matte, it looks more subtle. I know it may sound counterintuitive because matte can be a bit more harsh, but if you added lots of glitter, lots of shimmer, it can very quickly get out of control and just look a lot heavier than you intended to. I did not use any lighter eyeshadow in this area here. This is the concealer. I didn't add concealer to the brush. It was just once I finished the under eye, whatever was left here, I just gently, very gently went in the inner corner. And that brightens and lightens and livens the eye look without having to add any glitter, any shimmer. And I think that this looks very nice. This is definitely to my taste. If you wanted this to look even more moody, more French, more chic, maybe keep the lip completely matte. Just go in with lip liner and like a waxy chapstick just to keep a very nude, neutral pout. But I think a little touch of gloss just brightens a little bit, and I think that this is really lovely. You know, it's definitely to my taste. Now, in order to complete a makeup look, we're going to go into a fragrance. This completes the entire beauty look, beauty regime. I'm going into the Miss Dior. This is the perfume, the parfum version that came out recently, I think last year, the year before. It's fantastic. And this is my version of the Chanel Fall 2025 makeup look. I have other makeup from other Chanel fall releases. I have other fall releases from other brands. I'm going to rejudge what I already have I'm going to look into my archive being the makeup drawer behind me, and pull out ones that were showstoppers that in my opinion still stand the test of time. They stood out, they still are beautiful and are timeless to me, because sometimes one person's taste is not the same as someone else's, but I think that this is gorgeous. And if you have this palette here, if you have Quiet Revolution at home, why not take it for a spin? Just for fun, just see. And if you've made it to the end of the video, leave a blue heart emoji. Any blue emoji will do. There's different shapes. Leave one behind and let me know in your makeup archive, or even just, you know, from the top of your head, what are looks or items you want me to recreate or reuse? Like, are there makeup looks in particular you want me to do? Are there palettes or products you want me to dig out from behind and use again? I don't know, it's just fun. It's fun. It's an interesting creative challenge that I think is interesting because I don't know, I have so much makeup now, and I do still buy new things every now and then, but I definitely do not feel the need to rush out there and buy everything new just for the sake of buying. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, because if you're not subscribed, you will definitely miss out on a lot of fantastic tutorials where I use and reuse my collection. I will mix old and new, and you'll get tons of ideas at home, tons of inspiration and creativity just to use up what you already have. So do yourself a favor and subscribe. And on that note, that's all I have for you guys for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.